Good morning, everybody. It's Rachel Kale from Wild Backyard Soaps. I just wanted to take a random video because I was up bright and early this morning and it's so beautiful outside, and I thought I'd just give you a quick tour of our yard and our garden and let you know what I am most excited about. My husband and I have been working very hard to set up our orchard here. We've been tilling up and getting rid of tons of trees, and now we have a bunch of sand cherry bushes planted and several different varieties of apple trees that grow well at high elevation, and a couple of pear trees as well. And we are looking forward to enjoying some produce from this, but probably not for another 2 or 3 years before it's strong enough. And then we set up this greenhouse actually no, this was just last summer. It's just a carport kit from Menards with greenhouse plastic over it, and then we screwed it all down with sheet metal screws and lath. And this does okay. Our one thing that we would have changed is we didn't really set it up so you could roll up the plastic along the side. We totally should have done that because it can get over 100 degrees in here easy and still get pretty cold at night. So we needed the option of letting more heat out than we did. And so our backup plan as of right now is just to put this fan that's hanging in there, and that does help circulate some, but we like to keep the doors open also so that way pollinators can get in. And then we actually took the sheet metal from the carport kit and built these grow boxes along the sides, and on second thought, we would not do that next time. We would just do more of these self-wicking tubs or grow some Mittleider garden beds instead, because these things have turned out to be a real pain. Even though we have them supported, they kind of bow out a little bit, and it just took a lot of material that we had to lift and put in here. It's a mix of just dirt from the yard that we got with the skid steer, and then some compost we got from a farmer down the road. And we actually are doing kind of a hybrid hugelkultur type of thing as well. And there's a bunch of grass clippings and like dead fallen logs and branches and stuff down in here too. So that'll decompose over time and produce some heat and extra nutrition. But in the meantime, it has actually kind of caved in some holes and spots, and I had to walk in through here and kind of stamp it down and fill that in with some more soil. So this is our cucumber bed up here, and I accidentally, so this is our miscommunication. We started a bunch of seeds and my husband started shifting things around and didn't realize I had them written on a map. Oh look, we have a little pollinator. Yay! You go, little bee. Anyways, he started moving pots around and didn't realize I had them mapped out, and so this is a pumpkin. There's a pumpkin plant growing up in our cucumbers. Oh well, that happens. So we have some fun mystery plants going on. Here's a whole bunch of peppers we got, and we've been struggling and finally getting our strawberries to take off and putting some of the runners into separate little pots. And we already harvested all of our romaine lettuce, but then we just left one of these and it's actually coming back. So that was a fun experiment. And this is purslane, which is just a weed, but it's high in omega-3s and it's like a superfood, and it grows really easy too. I just sprinkled some seeds and bam, it's been taken off all summer, and we just keep lobbing off chunks of it and eating it in salads and sauces. It's amazing. And over here, these are black Valentine beans. And it says they're a bush bean, and from planting to maturity, drying on the pod, 55 days. So we're putting this to the test and seeing how true that is, but we've never grown dry beans before, so I'm really excited because this was the shortest one that they had since it was kind of an afterthought. And next year we're going to try a few other kinds that are native to this area. Our zucchini squash was slow going, but now it's finally taking off, and we felt like this was a good one to put here because it's up where we can see them, because I feel like you always miss zucchini and the next day it's ginormous. So we've been able to keep on top of them a little bit better this year, and they're more out of the way. And believe it or not, check out how amazing this corn is doing. So it's already taller than me and has tassels. This is August 17. We planted these in like mid to late June. We were way behind because we had such a cold spring, and they came through. I think the Mittleider method and fertilizing is making a huge difference with how these plants are being so successful. Here's our 35-foot long potato bed with the Mittleider method, which we'll share more details in other videos of how we've set this up, because it's an entire process, which it's amazing. It's actually very affordable and very efficient. It's like, in a way, hydroponics, but better. So we have several different varieties. So these ones are a little bit short, and you can see each variety kind of grew differently. And we are estimating about a 10-fold return. I think we planted like 20 or 25 pounds of seed potatoes, and we're estimating we'll probably get like 200, 250 pounds, which isn't quite enough for a full year, but we're aiming to just grow as much as we can. So here's our 3 rows of Mittleider in the garden, or I think it's called in the soil beds. So yeah, they're doing quite well. It's amazing how much they can grow in a month. And we had a late start really on everything because we had to grow or set all of these up. Here's the tomatoes. Several different varieties, but literally all of them are indeterminate, meaning that they just keep growing up. Those just require a lot more maintenance, plucking suckers. We have one determinate down on the very end over there, and that was a nice experiment to see how those ones do compared to everything else. Here's our sad grape trellis. Our grapes got stunted because they got killed by a frost. We forgot to cover them. And then these were just leftover decking materials, and we're realizing now we need to go back and reinforce all of this with some 2x8s, because we've heard once the grapes grow and come on, they are heavy. So we don't want to take the risk of losing any of our plants if we put the infrastructure in too late. So we're going to get that up soon. And then over here, we actually do have one grape that took off this year, and it's got a bunch of little bunches. Yay! I'm so excited about that. And we also really love doing tire taters because they're so easy. The black attracts the heat, and then when it's time to harvest, you literally just flip the tire off, and there's all of your roots exposed, and easy harvest for sure. You don't have to damage any of them with shovels. So we're actually gonna, in this spare area, once we get this fence in, we're gonna actually set up some more self-wicking tubs and tire taters later for next year. We might actually do some tire taters in the greenhouse as well and try sweet potatoes, because those need more heat and a longer growing season, and we're hoping that might actually give us a chance to have sweet potatoes here. Here's our squash and melon bed. We had very terrible success. I can't even call it success with the watermelon. Here's all of our watermelons. They like literally didn't do anything. I don't know why. So that's something we need to look into. And then down here we have a bunch of green beans, and then everything else is pumpkins, butternut squash, spaghetti squash, and honeydew. So yeah, they are doing well, and I really like this method because you can grow so much more in a little amount of space because it's all vertical with this twine, and then secured with some 9-gauge wire up there. So my husband has been working very hard tying up all of our peas. We have sugar snap peas and just like peas in the pod that you just harvest the peas out of. So these have been starting to take off, so I'm going to pick some of these later. And then our brassica, just because of our slow start, this was one of the last beds that we built. So by the time we got to put in all of our brassica, so this is cabbage, and then the cauliflower and broccoli and Brussels sprouts are down there, it was too late, and it started getting hot. We should have planted these like early May and had them covered in plastic, and it just didn't happen. So the bugs kind of got to them, and we've been spraying them a lot with diatomaceous earth. But I don't know how much we're going to get out of these at this point, because it's been kind of a hot summer the past several weeks, and I don't think we're going to get a whole lot, but some random broccoli, small florets out of all of it, and maybe a couple of small cabbage heads. I mean, you can eat the leaves too. We have harvested some of them and washed them really well and used them in smoothies, but that's about it. So, last but not least, the onions and the carrot beds. So this was the last one that we've put in. We do plan on putting in a few more beds over on the back side of the greenhouse, but it just didn't happen for planting this summer. But look at those little carrots down there. That is what I am most excited about. I just love fresh garden carrots and cucumbers, but carrots are my favorite. And oh my goodness, they cannot be beat. So I wanted to put like 2 full 4-foot beds of carrots and then just eat as many of them as I can fresh, and then you can leave them in the cellar for a little while, and then I was going to freeze some and can some and dehydrate some to use them in various methods. But yeah, look at these. They're finally coming. So we planted these super late. It was like late June, and so we're just patiently waiting, but it's going to still be a little bit, and we'll have to get some plastic over this because even though it is mid to late August, we actually get surprise frosts and freak snowstorms. Well, two years ago, Labor Day weekend, freak snowstorm wiped out everything, which was horrible. And here's my herb garden that's gone to seed. I'm just letting it go to seed. It's whatevs. I've harvested as much as I can. This is parsley. The cilantro I'm kind of just letting do its thing. I've got some dill taking over. My basil isn't doing much because we had such a cold spring. But back to the winter. Pretty much every October, near the beginning of October, we get like a giant snowstorm. So I'm fully expecting that we need to get everything, or mostly everything, out and inside by early October. So we have at least another month to see what we can do, and then maybe a few things will hold out with the plastic, some of the root vegetables. So this is my chives that I keep trimming off of, and I've mostly been freezing it. I know you can dehydrate it too, but it seems to be working okay freezing a lot of my herbs. And then the peppermint and the spearmint are really starting to take off and spread. This is from just a few little plants that I started a couple of summers ago. So I'm pretty excited that those have taken off because they smell amazing. So I mostly use them for tea and for soaps. So yeah, that is our garden so far. And then we do have by the shed, there's a little berry patch there. We've got some blueberries, June berries, and honeyberries growing. So those are more native to this, the blueberries not so much, but the others are native to this area. So we're hoping we'll have some good success. And I've got some asparagus, some are on their first year and some are on their second. So it'll be another year or two before we get much out of those. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with as much as we've been able to accomplish, especially being out in the middle of nowhere with no family around and 2 little kids. So it's been tough, but worthwhile. So we are excited to grow as much as we can. And don't forget to subscribe down below if you want to see more gardening videos, soap videos, all the things about being wild and free and the homestead life.